Our hero, Margaret Dolittle, worked in the Air Force as a wireless operator for 2 years during World War II in Britain. World War II was the cause of Adolf Hitler in his expedition to annihilate all Jewish people and rule the world. England and France declared war on Germany to defend Poland in case of an invasion in 1939. The war ended in 1945.
I was born November 27, 1919. I lived in just outside Manchester, but I worked in Manchester, and I was a receptionist with an insurance company. I lost my job. I had an illness, actually I had a cyst on my tailbone, but when it burst, it poisoned my inside, and so I lost my job. And that's why I went into the service. If you didn't have a job and you weren't married and had small children, you had to go into something, do something. It was strictly a choice that I made. Mm-hmm. It isn't something they tell you, you go in the service. They let you decide for yourself what you wanted to do. My sister's husband was an officer in the Royal Air Force, and he was in the sending just like I was. But naturally, he'd been in for years and was very good at his job. And when he found out I had signed up, he said, "Oh, you're just going to go and do some more office work." And I said, "No, I'm going to do what you do. I'm going to learn it." And he said, "Women won't be able to do that." And so he was teasing me about going in and trying to do his job. And I said, "I'll show you." And that's why I got into the service doing radio. And what I learned was the Morse code and how to build a radio, because all the time we were listening, the Morse code was all sent over radio in those days. And so the thing was that if the building that I was in got bombed and the radio was broken, I had to be able to repair it and make a new one, so I could send a message to say, "Help me, I need help," or something like that. Mm-hmm.
If you had any downsides of your job, what were the downsides? Like, were you scared of ever being in the service? Were you mocked for being a woman in the war?
No.
No?
No. It was just something, it was like a job, really.
Yeah.
The only reason you thought of the war is that during that time, we had planes flying over that were dropping bombs on us, the German planes. And so, of course, you were aware that maybe a bomb might hit you, but you didn't let yourself get to the point where you got worried about it. The very first bombing that England got was in Manchester. And I happened to be going through Manchester to visit a friend when the alarm went off. I was on a bus and they took us off the bus and put us in shelters. And I ended up in the basement of a church.
How were women a part of the war?
Did everything. I had one friend that worked on a farm. I had another one that worked in a factory. And then I had a couple of friends that were in the service, but not the same service I was in.
Are there any women that you look up to?
There was one, and I don't remember her name. She was the Prime Minister of England. Quite a strong woman. And I think the only woman that I know of that was in that higher position in England. So I think we all looked at her and thought, well, can she do the job? And it proved that she was more than capable of doing it.